Good morning, everyone. Before we start, we will first be having our prayer. Let's all remember that we're in the most holy presence of God. Thank you, Lord, for keeping us safe, especially my students during this pandemic. And I pray that you'll help them to learn new things for today's lesson. Amen. So before we start our lesson, we will be having first our mini game. So I hope that everyone is familiar with this game. So this game is 4 fix, 1 word. So I will present 4 pictures and you will guess what is the word behind those pictures. So for the first set of photos, what do you think is the word? Very good, humans. Next, what do you think is the answer? Very good, animals. Next, this one's pretty easy. Very good, plants. Next, very good, bacteria. And last, yeah, there's a hint already. Very good, cells. So based on those pictures, what do you think will be our lesson for today? Very good. We will be talking about cells. So specifically cell structure and function. So let me present first our learning objective. First, describe what is a cell, classify the type of cell, identify the parts and structure of the cell, explain the functions of each part or structure of the cell, construct an essay about the relationship amongst each part or structure of the cell. Let us have our essential question. Please take note of this question and we will be answering it later on the class. So, can the cell still function if one of the organelles was removed? Please take note of that essential question. And let us start our discussion. So, let us first define what is a cell. So, the cell is a basic unit of life. A cell is also the smallest living thing in a human organism, and all living structures in the human body are made of cells. So, actually, we are made up of 30 trillion cells. The cell itself can also organize its own body, described to have small, well-communicated organelles, and has distinct functions. And later, we will discuss what are those organelles. And we have the two main types of cells. So first is the prokaryotic cell, which we all know as the primitive cell. A prokaryote is a simple single cell or unicellular organism that lacks an organized and or any membrane-bound organelle. So this is an example of a prokaryotic cell. So we have here the nucleoid region. Instead of a true nucleus, a primitive cell or a prokaryotic cell doesn't have a true nucleus. Instead, it has a nucleoid, or it doesn't have has a nuclear membrane. So next is we have the eukaryotic cell, or any cell or organism that possesses a clearly defined nucleus. It has a membrane-bound organelles. The eukaryotic cell has a nuclear membrane that surrounds the nucleus. Just like what I said earlier, compared to the prokaryotic cell, the nucleus or the nucleoid of the prokaryotic cell doesn't have a a nuclear membrane. So organelles are specialized structures that perform various jobs inside the cell. The term organelles literally means little organs. So this is an example of the cell. So first we have here the animal cell, and then we have here the plant cells. Let us discuss what is the cell membrane. That's part of the cell. So first, the cell membrane, also known as the plasma membrane. The cell membrane separates the material outside of the cell, which is the extracellular, and the intracellular, which is the inside of the cell. It acts as a reflective barrier. So this cell membrane has a double layer of phospholipid molecules. So we have here the hydrophilic head and the hydrophobic head, a tail. So when we said hydrophilic head, we're telling that these heads are water lover, while hydrophobic tail, we're telling them that these tail are water fear. So this bilayer allows separation between the cell from its external environment. Next is the cell wall. It is a specialized form of extracellular matrix that surrounds every cell of the plant, or not only mechanical and structural purposes, but it can also provide multitude of functions upon which plant life depends. Plant cell walls are composed of cellulose. So aside from cell membrane, a plant cell also has cell wall. Next, we have here the cytoplasm. Cytoplasm is a gelatinous liquid that fills the inside of the cell. It's composed of water, salt, various organic molecules. All of the functions of cell expansion, growth, replication, or any cellular activity happens in the cytoplasm of the cell. So there is a difference between cytosol and cytoplasm. Don't be confused. The cytosol is the substance itself, so 70% the cell volume composed of water, salts, and various organic molecules, while the cytoplasm is the cytosol and the organelles. Next is the cytoskeleton. Provide the internal cellular scaffolding, a structure that helps cell maintain its shape and internal organization. It also provides mechanical support that enables cells to carry out essential functions like division and movement. It is like the skeletal system of the cell. So it provides the shape and internal organization of each organelle inside the cell. Next, we have here the nucleus, which is also generally known as the control center of the cell. So, compared to it in a business firm, diba? So, a nucleus can be compared in the CEO or the boss. So, it holds the genetic material of the cell, which is the deoxyribonucleic acid or the DNA. The nucleus determines how the cell will function and as well as the basic structure of the cell of that certain cell. So as it is the boss or the control center of the cell. Next is we have here the part of the nucleus. First is nucleolus, the site for ribosome formation, chromatin, which holds the DNA or the chromosomes. Then we have here the nucleoplasm, suspension substance for the organelle cell nucleus. Nuclear envelope separates the contents of the nucleus from the cytoplasm, and nuclear pore regulates the transportation of molecules between nucleus and cytoplasm. Next, we have here the ribosome, site for protein synthesis in the cell. Ribosomes are produced in the nucleus. They can be found attached in rough ER or rough endoplasmic reticulum and freely in the cytosol or what we all know as free ribosome. So before we proceed, let's have a quick recap. So cell membrane separates intracellular extracellular materials, cell wall mechanical and structural purposes, cell plants, cytoplasm, site for cell expansion, growth, and replication, any other cellular activities, cytoskeleton, shape and internal organization, nucleus, control center of the cell, and ribosome, site for protein synthesis in the cell. So let us continue. Next is endoplasmic reticulum, series of membrane-forming sacs and tubules that extend from outer nuclear membrane into the plasm. So first we have the rough ER or rough endoplasmic reticulum. Rough due to the attached ribosomes. Therefore, it's also involved in the protein synthesis. Next is smooth ER or smooth endoplasmic reticulum. There are no attached ribosomes in this reticulum. And this is also the site for lipid synthesis, cellular detoxification, and also stores calcium in the muscle cells. As we can see here in our diagram on our photo. Next is the Golgi apparatus. Consists of closely packed stacks of curved membrane-bound sacs. It collects, modifies, packages, and distributes proteins and lipids manufactured by the endoplasmic reticulum. Next, we have the vacuole. In animal cells, vacuoles are generally small and help sequester waste product. However, in the plant cell, vacuoles help maintain water balance. Thus, it has a bigger vacuole. It is bigger. The plant vacuole is bigger than the animal vacuole because it needs to hold water that is so important in the plant. Next, we have the bacteria-like organelles. So we have first the mitochondria, or generally known as the powerhouse or the power plant of the cell, generate most of the chemical energy needed to power the cell's biochemical reactions, ATP production, and has its own mitochondrial DNA or mtDNA. Next bacteria-like organelle is the chloroplast, found within the cells of the plant and certain algae that is site of photosynthesis. Contains chloroplast, cpDNA, which are photosynthetic organelles. So, so just like the mitochondria, it also has its own DNA. Quick recap. So RAF-ER participates in protein synthesis due to attached ribosomes. Smooth-ER synthesizes lipids and stores calcium in muscle cells. Golgi apparatus participates in protein modification and packaging. Vacuole maintain water balance for the plants and help sequester waste products for the animals. Mitochondria power up the cell or energy ATP production. Chloroplast site of photosynthesis. So let us continue. We have here the vesicles. So we have four types of vesicles. First is the transport vesicle, help move materials such as proteins and other molecules from one part of cell to another. Next is secretory vesicles, plays an important role in moving molecules outside the cell, or the exocytosis. So the main difference of these two is that the transport vesicle happens only inside the cell, while the secretory vesicle has the connection outside of the cell. So let's compare the business pyramid. It's like transport vesicles, like delivery man only happens inside the cell, while the secretary vesicles is like an international relation wherein the delivery man will transport those molecules outside their businesses. So that is the real life comparison. Next is the peroxisomes and lysosome. Peroxisome contains enzymes that catabolize or break down fatty acids, amino acids, hydrogen peroxide, or any other toxins. Lysosome contains digestive enzyme. They break down excess and worn out cell parts and may be used for destroying invading viruses and bacteria. Next, you have here the centrosome. So, centrosome is paired barrel-shaped organelle located in cytoplasm of animals near the nuclear envelope. Contains two centrioles. So, when we have two centrioles, it is a centrosome. Okay, remember that. Which are normally oriented perpendicular to each other, involved in the process of mitosis. Lastly, for the movement. So cilia is a microtubule-based hair-like organelle that extend from the surface to almost cell types of the human body, found on the eukaryotic cell, while the flagella, microscopic hair-like structure involved in locomotion of the cell. Flagellum literally means whip. So we have weird types of flagella. We have here the no-tail, which is the atrichus, the monotrichus, the one-tail, and so on. So class, please bring out your quiz notebook as we will be having our quiz for this lesson. Before we start, please listen on my instruction. I will only read the quiz 2 times, so please listen carefully. Choose the best answer on each question. After the quiz, you will be checking your own answer. And guys, remember this, honesty is the best policy. Thank you. So shall we start? For item number 1, this type of cell is also known as the primitive cell. A. Eukaryotic cell. B. Protista. C. Prokaryotic cell. Or D. E. coli. This type of cell is also known as the primitive cell. A. Eukaryotic cell. B. Protista. C. Prokaryotic cell. Or D. E. coli. For item number 2, this type of cell has membrane-bound organelles. A. Eukaryotic cell. B. Protista. C. Prokaryotic cell. Or D. E. coli. Let me repeat. This type of cell has membrane-bound organelles. A. Eukaryotic cell. B. Protista. C. Prokaryotic cell. D. E. coli. Number 3. It is the outer layer of the plant cell in which gives supports and protection. A. Cell wall. B. Cell membrane. C. Cell shield. Or D. Cytoplasm. It is the outer layer of the plant cell in which gives support and protection. A. Cell wall. B. Cell membrane. C. Cell shield. Or D. Cytoplasm. For item number 4, this organelle is widely known as the powerhouse or power plant of the cell. A. Nucleus. B. Chloroplast. C. Mitochondria. Or D. Golgi apparatus. This organelle is widely known as the powerhouse of the plant or power plant of the cell. A. Nucleus. B. Chloroplast. C. Mitochondria. Or D. Golgi apparatus. 5. It has a membranous sac containing digestive enzyme found in the animal cell. A. Lysosome. B. Endoplasmic reticulum. C. Mitochondria. Or D. Peroxisome. Number 5. It has a membranous sac containing digestive enzyme found in the animal cells. A. Lysosome. B. Endoplasmic reticulum. C. Mitochondria. Or D. Peroxisome. Next, for item number 6, also known as the control center of the cell. A. Chromosome. B. Nucleus. C. Nucleolus. Or D. Nucleoid. Also known as the control center of the cell. A. Chromosome. B. Nucleus. C. Nucleolus. Or D. Nucleoid. For item number 7, it contains the hereditary information. A. Chromosome. B. Centrosome. C. Nucleus. Or D. Cell wall. Please choose the best answer. It contains the hereditary information. A. Chromosome. B. Centrosome. C. Nucleus. Or D. Cell wall. Number 8. These organelles are responsible for protein synthesis. Some of them are attached to one of the organelles in the cell for protein synthesis. A. Ribosome. B. Smooth ER. C. Rough ER. Or D. Lysosome. These organelles are responsible for protein synthesis, and some of them are attached to one of the organelles in the cell for protein synthesis. A. Ribosome. C. Smooth ER. Or D. Rough ER. Or C. Rough ER. Or D. Lysosome. Number 9. This site for lipid synthesis and cellular detoxification. A. Ribosome. B. Smooth ER. C. Rough ER. Or D. Lysosome. Number 9. This is the site for lipid synthesis and cellular detoxification. A. Ribosome. B. Smooth ER. C. Rough ER. Or D. Lysosome. For the last item, it collects, modifies, packages, and distributes proteins. A. Golgi apparatus. B. Smooth ER. C. Rough ER. Or D. Lysosome. It collects, modifies, packages, and distributes proteins. A. Golgi apparatus. B. Smooth ER. C. Rough ER. Or D. Lysosome. So everyone's done answering. I guess everyone's done. So these are the answers. And please check your own work and please be honest. So for item number 1, the correct answer is letter C. For item number 2A, 3A, 4C, 5A, 6B, 7A, 8A, 9B, and 10A. So done checking your answers. So class, please type in your scores on the chat box so that I can record it later. And let's go back to our essential question that I asked you to take note. Can the cell still function if one of the organelles was removed? So I want a volunteer to please answer this question. Very good. Of course, the cell can function if one of the organelles was removed. For example, the peroxisome. If there will be no peroxisome in the cell, we will die because of the freely floating toxins. So another example is that nucleus, of course, being the control center of the cell, without the nucleus, it will never function. So each organelle in the cell has function. Everyone is important. So if one of them is removed, the cell will fail. And we have here the references. And thank you everyone for listening. And I hope you have a good day. And please take care of yourself. And that's all. Thank you everyone. Have a good day.